Big talk, big sports, big tunes. The Daily Habit, the wildest late night party on television. Weeknights at 11 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. All right, big crowd here at Budds Creek, about a half hour south of Washington, D.C. for motocross racing. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Here's how the racing works. First, we're going to watch our 450 class, which will run 2 motos today, 40 riders in each race, and we will combine the scores from both of those races, which all take 30 minutes and 2 laps to determine an overall winner for the weekend. Let's take a look at the track that has been built here in Maryland. Jeff Emig, you've had some success here. What's it all about?
Well, the start is going to be interesting down here and make a hard left, sweep around through some rollers, kind of go downhill. This is a pretty steep uphill, off camber through here, triple downhill into some huge braking bumps. The Bubba Scrub jump, I'm not sure what the locals have named it. That thing's been extended out. You go down the long downhill and head up. Uphill triple, of course, legendary obstacle. Henry Hill jumps all the way to the corner, suffers an injury, would come back to win here at this track again. Just what can I say about this track other than it's got fantastic soil. There's great obstacles, well suited for a 450, and I think we are primed to have an epic battle here today.
Oh, man, we sure hope so. Now, Ryan Villopoto, we mentioned at the top of the show, won his first motocross race of the year last week. But coming into this series, he'd already wrapped up the AMA and FIM World Championship in Supercross. So an impressive year already, and now he's trying to do the double by winning it in motocross. Let's talk to Ryan Villopoto.
All I can remember just growing up was my dad always saying that you can do that for a living, you can make money at that. And you won't have to have a normal job. Here I am now, doing it as a, now you'd call it a normal job. For me, it's a job, but it's fun, and it's a short-term job, I should say. I mean, other than Kevin and Timmy, it's kind of like a 10-year span, so we get our work out of the way pretty quick, but it's also takes a toll on the body, like a guy that's been working for 40 years. I'm looking forward to it, to get this going and win some outdoor racing and in the end be there fighting for this championship. I mean, what a year would it be to win the Supercross championship, win outdoors, and then get married. So, looking forward to it and see if we can pull it off.
Well, there's Ryan Villopoto, and yes, he has the indoor title, but a lot of people think he's even faster outdoors, and he showed it last week.
Trying to do the double. He didn't start the series off where he would like to be, but certainly is primed for another win after that great ride at High Point.
Now let's pick another rider out of this grid here that might have a breakthrough ride today. We're going to go with the 539 of Ricky Dietrich. He's had some pretty good runs so far in 2011.
He certainly has, and at the race in Texas, when it was really nasty and rough, that's where we saw his fitness come through, and I believe that's what he's going to have to rely upon today. Last week he had a little bit of problem with his speed. Hopefully work together with Rockstar Yamaha, Valley Motorsports, got that figured out, and of course, he's an off-road rider, so just keep it out of the trees and all that stuff and keep it on the track. He should be good.
Now, you see these riders have selected their gates left to right. Most riders saying that this track, the gate selection more important than most other tracks. Explain this, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, if you're anywhere outside of here, you're going to have some problems. And it's pretty short start, but I was surprised to see that some of the top guys lined up over in here as opposed to normally they would be way here on the inside, pretty much first in points, first quick, fastest qualifying would line up way to the left and then work their way out, but they've actually chose to move out a little bit here.
All right, well, we'll see how that pays off for them. Yeah, a lot of times the starts at Budds come from the inside. Dungey, who's the fastest qualifier, chooses not to go to the inside, more to the middle.
Yeah, and if you're 330 and these guys on the outside here, it's really the key is going to be to just let everybody go and then get all the way to the inside.
Don't even try it around the outside.
Don't even try to make it.
And this is a new start. I think this is, the third different starting area they've had at this track. We'll see how it turns out. Moto 1 underway. Chad Reed leads him into the first turn on the red 22 and leads him out. So Reed able to control it as they hit this big step up.
Mike Alessi in there. Reigning champion Ryan Dungey, Vilipoto's in there.
Alessi going for the lead and grabs it immediately from Reed. And Vilipoto, trying to follow him through, and Reed and Alessi almost tangled. That's the kind of action we expect early in AMA Pro Motocross.
There's some sections of the track, Jason, that they have fixed and smoothed out and worked all the muddy spots out. You can see other sections they left rough, let the deep ruts stay in there. Okay, so this track in spots is going to be pretty smooth. Other spots is going to get rough, but you can see that it's a little bit of dust coming up in spots, where earlier today this track was deep and muddy, and it was really a labor for the motorcycles to pull their way around. But I'm telling you, track is fast right now.
The pack is fast. All the contenders up front. We've talked quite a bit about Reed on the 22, Vilipoto on the 2, and Dungey on the number 1. But we also know Mike Alessi, who's in the lead. He's not up there in points because he missed the first 2 rounds with an injury, but he can start with him, and he can run with these guys.
I believe that Mike Alessi has the potential to run away from these guys, okay? And this is coming off of that horrendous crash at the opening round, but he really impressed me last week. And so Mike has got to start here, and a clear track. He's going to stay away from a lot of this roost. See the mud flying up off the back of the red Honda. Chad Reed, number 22, up into the 2 of Ryan Villopoto there on the green Monster Energy Kawasaki.
And Dungey right behind them. And explain to folks, this is a 30-minute race and 2 laps. So are they feeling each other out right now? I mean, there's a lot of racing yet to come.
Being that it is the first moto, it's the first lap of 35, 36-minute lap time. They're looking for where the track has changed, where they've worked on it, where they've smoothed it out, trying to figure out where the wet spots are from where we laid down a little bit of water to keep the dust down, and they're trying to sort themselves out. But the key thing, too, is not to make any big mistakes along the way.
Reed going after Alessi. Last couple of corners, the 22 found some of those good lines, and then he found a bad one there.
Reed trying to hold the inside line through here, tries to manual one jump, ducks his head, just gets blasted with some of this Maryland soil. And in that top section, it's a little bit rocky. Some of the lower sections where the top soil would have washed down of all the years of rain and mud here, like down here, the soil is so good. But then coming up the hill, the sandy and the soft stuff is washed off, and there's some small rocks in there, like, you know, golf ball size rocks, marbles. And Alessi has the opportunity to just blast these guys behind him and, you know, use it to your advantage. Use everything you got. Look at this downhill triple weed. This is huge.
And Reed showing a wheel again to Alessi, just trying to let him know he's back there. Maybe put a little pressure on. And 5th place right now behind Dungey. You'll see Dungey in the yellow bike come through next. 5th is Tommy Hahn at the end of lap 1 on the Moto Concepts Yamaha. That's Weimer, Brown, Short, Spangler, Josh Grant, top 10. Jeff?
Notice that uphill triple and takes your momentum to the outside. And as Reed's getting pressured by Vilipoto here, now he falls back in the line. Reed hasn't got a hole shot all year, but he's won 4 of 6 motos. He's been consistently good off the starts, okay? You know, ironically, he gave up the hole shot here to Alessi on that first lap, but Reed has been consistently up front and put himself in a good position. Really hasn't had to battle from the back. And you've seen that first lap, he really put some pressure on Alessi, couldn't make it stick. And you notice he backed off a little bit.
Also backing off a little bit, you're seeing Reed, Vilipoto, and Alessi, your top 3 battling with each other, but a little bit of a gap built up between those 3 and the 4th place man, Dungey on the Rockstar Makita Suzuki.
Dungey in a nice position. I do feel that this is a weekend that he needs to have a breakout ride. I'm sure, you know, with him, the team, everybody's going, okay, stay consistent, be strong, all of these things that you try to tell yourself all along. But I think Dungey needs to make a statement today, and qualifying.
They're all coming up short on that step up.
Yeah, and that's because they worked that lip of that double. Earlier today, it was really cupped out some deep lines.
Whoa, Vilipoto has gotten by Reed and is now going after Alessi, so he waited 1 lap, and then in lap 2, he began to strike. Here we are in lap 3, and he wants to take the lead.
Talk about making a statement.
Wow.
Ryan Villopoto is going after it here, pressuring, and once again, we've watched these 2 riders grow up together, go through the ranks all the way from being on the little bikes. Now here they are at the pinnacle of the sport, 2 of the finest riders on the earth.
And there goes Vilipoto, going to dance down to the inside and take the spot from Alessi. And Alessi shakes his head, although I'm not sure if that was frustration or just trying to duck the roost coming off the rear tire of Vilipoto. So Vilipoto from 3rd to 1st in about a half a lap. And now Dungey closing on Reed. for the number 3 spot. Reed in the 22, Dungey on the 1. So Reed has come unraveled about the same time that Vilipoto has begun to surge.
Well, Michael Alessi laid down a 2:04 last lap, but Vilipoto gets into a 2:03 for the first time today.
Wow.
Where only Dungey had been. Reed turns a 2:06, so he drops 2 seconds from Alessi, 3 seconds on Vilipoto. It's obvious that that lap just did not go as planned, but Reed is more than comfortable. He's more than fit. We'll see how he manages this race and just what sort of intensity level Dungey, Alessi, and Vilipoto can try to put on the current points leader. And you notice the red plate on his bike where everyone else uses a white background with a black number. Reed as the points leader, red background, white numbers.
Aaron Bates, what are you hearing about the number 1, Ryan Dungey?
You guys were talking about intensity out there racing, but something that Ryan Dungey had mentioned to me this afternoon was that he said he is really trying to focus on not wearing himself out, having 4 races in a row. Says that he needs to get a little bit of rest and relaxation in between motos to be able to come out here swinging just the way he is at this moment.
Yeah, well, he is measuring the approach right now. He's going after Reed, but hasn't gotten too aggressive yet, Jeff.
Yeah, look on the right side of Dungey's helmet there. You see those tear-offs flapping. Riders use what's called a laminated tear-off system, where there's a pack of like 7 tear-offs that are stuck together. Sometimes, like in this situation, he might have put 4 or 5 packs on. Okay, so upwards of 20 or more tear-offs. And if you grab that tear-off and if it sticks, you don't get the proper technique of pulling it across, you pull that pack of 7, let's say, off. You can see that flapping on the right side of Dungey's helmet. And it's a lot like putting a card in your spokes on your bicycle. It's got that little flutter.
But he doesn't need that. He's got a motorcycle engine to make the noise. Alessi on the orange bike stuffs Reed to hold on to 2nd, and that allows Dungey to pull up on Reed in a battle for 3rd. There goes Dungey on the yellow on the outside, and it's going to become the inside in the next corner. He might have the spot. Side by side. Uphill triple. Dungey takes it. Reed going to try to get him back. Great racing at Budds Creek.
Okay, see Dungey right there. He pulled all of his tear-offs off. He's having to use his gloves and his fingers to clear his lens. And on a day like today, he's going to have to be really careful about how he takes roost to his lens, or he's going to be battling that all day long, and that could definitely hinder his riding.
Well, how about Reed, who was in 2nd a lap and a half ago, going after Alessi for the lead, and now finds himself in 4th. And Dungey here on the 1, after the pass, is putting a little distance on himself and Reed, who leads this series. So Reed needs to regroup.
Regroup, yeah, he's scratching his head right now going, wait a second, what's going on? This moto, the intensity has started out pretty high. You know, Reed obviously with 4 wins out of 6 opportunities feels that he's the man, but right now things are happening really quick for him. And our leader, Vilipoto, last lap around was about 4 seconds out on Alessi. You can't even see him in the screen at this point.
So Dungey knows it's go time if he wants to try to catch Vilipoto, your leader. He's got to get around the 800 of Alessi, who is in 2nd, and they both try to go to the inside over those jumps. So Dungey's not able to make the pass.
Look at Dungey right there just scrubbing down. Now this is the same move that Vilipoto tried to put on.
Alessi did a good job of protecting the inside, and Dungey just switched on him and takes the spot anyway. Dungey on the number 1 up to 2nd.
You believe that? Oh, you're going to block the inside? Take that. I'm going around the outside. I love it.
Should not be able to be done.
And Jason, this is the type of effort and intensity that I feel that Dungey needed to bring to this race. Let's see if he can put on the charge and catch our leader and really make a statement here in this first moto.
Well, here's the problem. 7.5 seconds of a lead already built up by Vilipoto. Those 2 laps that he had to run away while Reed, Dungey, Alessi were battling each other. Vilipoto did a lot of damage. Now Reed begins to zero in on the 800 of Alessi in a race for 3rd. But they got to try to keep pace with the 1 and the 2 who are in front of them right now. Just getting started here at Budds Creek on Fuel TV Live. Stay with us. Ryan Villopoto here, the number 2. Monster Energy Kawasaki leads the way early at the Budds Creek National in Mechanicsville, Maryland. It's Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross. And Vilipoto did this exact same thing 1 week ago when we were about 3 hours west of here in Pennsylvania. Pulled away early in the first race of the day.
Well, and you take a look at the lap times, and it's no wonder he just turned a 2:02.4, the fastest lap of the day, and now he's 9 seconds out on Ryan Dungey. With 17 minutes plus 2 laps left to go in this, And all of a sudden, Vilipoto's got that confidence. This is that riding style, that technique, that effort that we see on the bike and the intensity that led him to 3 250 motocross championships. You know, he might have started off this championship a little sick.
Yep.
A little stressed out from the Supercross title, things like that, but he certainly has found his form right now.
Look at Dungey tripling all the way over that step up now. He's figured that section out, but he's going to figure out a lot more if he wants to close the gap on Vilipoto. We'll give you the idea of the gap now that Dungey has completed another lap. It's 10.25 seconds now.
Last lap around, we just crossed the finish line. Vilipoto a 2:02 flat this time, so 0.4 of a second faster than the previous lap, and Dungey a 2:03.3. So he is dropped his lap time, definitely raised the intensity. He's found his groove right now, and they are wheeling away from Alessi and Reed.
But Alessi's still holding Reed off. There's Alessi in the 800, the Red Bull KTM, with Reed on the TwoTwo Motorsports Bell Ray machine behind him. And this is what we're talking about. Could Mike Alessi or someone become a spoiler and get in between these top 3 in the series? And so far, so good. It's the 800. If it ended like this, he would cost Reed a few championship points.
Yeah, the 22 just looks like he's kind of bouncing around. He doesn't quite have his lines down.
How about this? Tommy Hahn, the Moto Concepts Yamaha, not that far back of Alessi and Reed. He can get a look at them on some of the longer sections of this track. So Hahn, who is bouncing back, had a couple of rough years with injuries, ended the year in 2009 with his first career pro win. But last year just couldn't seem to get the momentum going his way, and it's been like that so far in 2011. But speed's really not an issue with this guy. Once he gets going, he can run with people.
Hey, Tommy Hahn is rocking right now. He's 9th in points. The first Yamaha on the track right now. And remember a couple weeks ago with his previous teammate Christophe Pourcel,
yeah,
he had problems dialing the bike. Well, Tommy Hahn has no problems with that Yamaha, and he's putting in a great ride here in the first moto.
Let's check out Kevin Windham there in the 14, the veteran. This is going to be it. End of the road for him. He's the replacement rider on factory Honda, but Josh Grant is back from injury. And K-Dub said, I'm going to probably call it a summer. He hasn't ruled out the idea of maybe coming back a little bit later in the series, but he's going on vacation for a little bit. Reed is closed back in on Alessi, Jeff.
Trying to put the move on right now. Let's see if Reed has found some new lines, if he can carry his momentum all the way over the top here. See, Alessi comes a little short. Nah, Reed does too. Everybody's trying to fight for the inside, trying to get those tires to stick.
And he makes the pass. They were fighting for the inside. I guess Reed fought a little bit harder for it.
Yeah, he just swooped through the inside there, drew a better line. Reed needs to drop that lap time. He was a 2:07 last lap, or this last lap. Vilipoto a 2:02.5, wow. And Dungey now a 2:02.9. So he is down into the 2:02. So you see Reed is about 5 seconds a lap right now that he needs to pick up. That's why he's 21 seconds behind the leader. So
now, earlier in his career, Chad Reed was known as a Supercross specialist, better on the indoor stadiums than he is here on the big tracks outdoors. And he said the reason was, when the bike is good and the track is good and he's comfortable, he can go fast. But he said he's not one of those guys when he's not comfortable that is willing to just go fast anyway, darn the consequences. And he doesn't look comfortable today.
I would agree. The rider that does look comfortable right here is Tommy Hahn. And last lap around, he was a 2:06. Alessi was a 2:08. So Hahn a couple seconds a lap faster than Alessi. He could possibly put Moto Concepts Yamaha in the top 4 in this moto with the type of ride he's putting on now.
Compare Hahn's bike here, the number 12. They get some support from Yamaha, but compare his machinery to the bikes in front of him. Reed gets the bike from factory Honda, the factory-supported KTM of Alessi. Where is Hahn's bike? Is he at a disadvantage at all, or does that team have it sorted out?
Well, it all has to do with the results, right? And, you know, the teams are, it's possible to make a production bike in 2011, in the era that we're in now. All of the manufacturers, the 5 manufacturers here that are represented today that make the 450 machines, these things are pretty good. Okay, you go to the showroom floor, buy it. It all has to do with the setup. So that comes down to the technicians on the team, how you can relay the information about what you want back to your mechanic and work with the technicians that do the chassis setups and the suspension engine setup. So the team's working hard.
Obviously. We saw Windham go by. Then first look today at Davi Millsaps, who came by in 7th. Brett Metcalfe in 8th. And there is Josh Grant back in action after ACL surgery. Crashed into Mike Alessi's brother, Jeff, at a Supercross race in Phoenix, I believe, a couple of months ago. And
I think that was the other way around.
Well, yeah, I guess that's to be accurate. Jeff kind of aggressively ran into Josh Grant. That's the way I'm going to put it. Alessi has been caught now by Hahn, so we're going to focus back into this battle for fourth. Hahn on the blue bike, Alessi on the orange and white. Hahn is on the move. And we were talking about Alessi being the potential spoiler, but Hahn might get the better of him here.
And, I mean, this is a legit ride here. Hahn sitting in fifth, but he's only 3 seconds behind Reed, our current points leader.
And Reed in a podium position. Top three will get to go to the stage at the end of the race. And Hahn is not out of contention for that. Alessi able to shake him just a bit through that section, but Hahn closing back in now.
And what's interesting, I mean, all of the core motocross fans know that Yamaha has this 450 that is a dramatically different, design than any other bike out there, with how the engine is positioned and the chassis and all that. And this is the second year with this bike. And what really happens, I think, in the Supercross Championship, you mask some of the handling stuff. When you with the motocross, this is where you really got to make this thing work. And this team is doing a great job.
Oh, they were. Tommy throws it away. A fairly routine crash. No injuries or problems from the landing, but he will lose time. And now a little wind in the sails of Windham, who can now see Tommy Hahn in front of him. And Hahn's slowing up. Maybe I spoke too soon saying no problems with the bike. What happened? Unbelievable.
Well, let's watch as he comes down here, hits some bumps, and tries to get into the inside. And let's watch his gut area, stomach. It didn't really look like he took a really hard hit, but once he got up and pulled off the track, he was crouching over, grabbing his stomach area. What a disappointment here.
Unbelievable.
Moto Concepts Yamaha, Tommy Hahn had one of the best rides of his career going.
Shows what I know. The point I was trying to make is that was a fairly easy crash. Shouldn't be any damage to him or the machine, and it was enough to knock him out of the race. Just a strange situation. Hahn's just going to coast around to the Makita Mechanics area, and that should be it for him. We'll check out Tommy Hahn and the rest of the field when we come back. Washington Monument, like we said, about a half hour north. Next year, come to the race, make a little educational trip out of it at our nation's capital. See you then.
3 hours late.
I was at your father's funeral.
Maybe that excuse would have flown when my dad was here, but I'm in charge now.
I work for the...
Watch the best Kung Fu cult classic films every Saturday only on Fuel TV. Late night, 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. Go to Fuel TV, that's fuel.tv, for the movie titles. Like the late night Kung Fu.
I'll tell you who's throwing the karate chops down here is Vilipoto. He is absolutely dominating this moto. 2:03 lap time. Dungey's at a 2:02.8, so Dungey just a click quicker, but he's 9 seconds behind Vilipoto at this point. Look how he's carrying his momentum all the way over, almost over jumping that step up, triple down. You know, they put a lot of obstacles on this track here today, and it's got to be tough to remember this whole track because there's just so much going on, right?
Vilipoto, whatever they're throwing at him, it's not stopping the guy. He looks even faster now than he did when he was sprinting away from the field early in the moto.
Well, yeah, it's obviously that Vilipoto's fitness is there, his intensity's back up, and just like I suspected after winning the first moto at High Point, it is just such a confidence booster, and you can see the attitude that he has in his riding, and this is the Vilipoto that we've known in the past. 3-time 250 motocross champion, and we've got
pilot there. That's Freeze on the 450 and Kyle Keelan on the 130, and they've not only come together, they have done some damage to the motorcycles. Freeze, who now rides for Rock River after running for the Moto Concepts team earlier in the year, and man, these guys have had better days.
Well, Freeze always has had a reputation of trading paint with other riders, and that's in that off-camber. Who knows?
Hey, we talked about Ricky Dietrich on the 539, the blue bike here at the top of our show as our Fuel TV's one to watch. He is battling it out with Michael Byrne, and that is for 13th and 14th. Probably not where either one of these guys want to be. They want to be at least in the top 10 and battling for top 5s. Let's focus in on both of these. It's a good battle.
Well, Byrne qualified 14th, Ricky Dietrich 17th, and so at this point, running just a click better than what they've qualified.
Yeah, it looks like he's got Byrne on the inside. Can Byrne get him back? Byrne on the yellow. And Dietrich's going to slam the door, so that's another spot for Dietrich. But again, that's only 13th place. They want to be further up than that.
Yeah, and that BTO Sports Suzuki team were looking for an improvement out of Michael Byrne this week. They spent a lot of time up in the Northeast with their suspension technicians, factory connection, to get the bike dialed in. But so far, just outside of the top 10.
Now, before we went to break, we saw the number 12, Tommy Hahn, running for a top 5, had this crash. And we thought he just lost some time, but apparently it hurt a little more than that. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates, who now has Tommy Hahn, who's out of this race. Aaron?
Tommy Hahn was having one of the rides of his life out there until suddenly, Tommy, you went down. It wasn't one of the roughest crashes that we've seen you do. What exactly happened?
My front end knife coming into the corner. I got a handlebar to the side, and I think I cracked some ribs. It knocked the wind out of me for quite a while. It's hot, it's humid, it's real hard to recover from something like that gnarly of a hit. So I'm going to go back and see if I can make the second moto. If not, I'll see you guys next week.
I will never again assume that a crash looked rather routine and the guy's not going to be hurt.
It didn't. Whoa, as Vilipoto almost gets put off the track there, the lap rider was looking for where he's at. But getting back to Tommy, I mean, we saw that fall 2 or 3 times, and it looked okay. Relatively easy, just fell over. But
whoa, and Vilipoto
he
has
stalls
problems
it
in the same general type of situation on the inside. All right, he got the bike started. We were wondering if he had suddenly lost the lead here, but he did get the bike fired up.
And
scary moment.
He's about 10 seconds out on Dungey. He lost about half of that by stalling the bike, but what was interesting, I kept watching, was to see...
One is right there.
So
Dungey is right
seconds.
there. Well, yeah, he lost almost the entire lead. It was 10.3 seconds at the beginning of this lap. So I'd say, what, that was 8 seconds he lost right in that section.
Could this be the good fortune that Dungey needs to get notch of the win here? But getting back to that, when Vilipoto was standing there and you have to put your left foot down, in that situation, the low part of the track was the left side. So he was really fortunate that he had a berm or part of that rut that he could stand on, because if not, it might have been even tougher to get that bike fired back up.
Well, it is on now. We've got a battle for the lead. Look at the countdown clock at the top of the screen. 3 minutes, and then we'll bring out the 2 lap boards. So we're looking at 3 or 4 laps left in this moto. Mike Williamson, the mechanic for Vilipoto, says 4. Well, it's close.
And let's not forget, it was just a couple laps ago that Dungey actually turned a faster lap time than Ryan Villopoto. So is this that dangling carrot in front of Ryan Dungey? It certainly is. Motivates you when you know the guy's right there. He made a mistake. Now's the time to put the pressure on, try to force him into another mistake, especially as they move into the lap riders. And like we saw when Vilipoto was getting around the lap rider just before he fell, lap rider looked to his left, Vilipoto was on his right.
Dungey continues to close. He's closer than he was when he first got to Vilipoto. So Dungey's feeling it right now. I'm going to ask you, if you're Vilipoto, you have a big lead, you're cruising like that, you make a little mistake, and suddenly you're under pressure. How hard is that to recover from, Jeff?
Well, these guys are the best in the world. They know how to deal with those situations. That's why both of these riders are multi-time champions.
Here we go. Dungey is there. You can hear the crowd responding to this battle.
Yeah, but this has given Dungey that incentive to say, okay, I'm second. I'm just going to settle for second, get my 22 points. No. Now it's time for the Suzuki rider to strike and get after it and try to put some pressure on Vilipoto.
Oh, man, the lap traffic is definitely making it tough. Although Dungey can't complain too much. The lap riders helped him get close to Vilipoto in the first place, but they cost him a lot of ground right there.
He lost some time.
Give us a replay here. Here we go, Jeff. Here's Vilipoto.
He just gets in there and stalls the bike. Now, it's interesting because your right foot is where the rear brake is. And going into those right-hand off-cambers, you keep your foot on the brake for a little while. Then at the midpoint, you go ahead and put your foot off to the inside. But just stall the engine a little bit coming down there.
Dungey lost some ground with the lap traffic, so now he's got to try to close back in on Vilipoto. He was able to do it 1 lap ago.
This is when you got to dig deep, Jason. This is when you got to get the fight going. You have to be determined, and you have to get after it. Now, Vilipoto, of course, is one of the best that there's ever been, especially at Budds Creek.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the exact stats here.
Well, he's won every moto he's ever raced in here. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yes.
I would say that's better than average.
Yeah. Vilipoto has never lost a moto that he's raced in here at Budds Creek. Can he win another? Dungey's not going to make it easy on him. Stay tuned to Fuel TV. Battle whistle is on. 2 laps to go. The number 2 on the green. Ryan Villopoto has led the majority of this race, but he made a mistake, stalled the motorcycle, and that has allowed Ryan Dungey in yellow on the number 1 to close up. So your first and second place riders with 2 laps to go. Anything goes now.
Through this section, just up that hill, Dungey is drawing some great lines. That is his spot. The latter part of the lap, Vilipoto seems to stretch it out. So Dungey needs to find his lines. He needs to copy him and duplicate it and stay with him here with about a lap and a half and try to put a charge on and make the pass for the lead. But after the mistake that Vilipoto had, he made another critical mistake in a similar part of the track, which we're coming to right now. Let's take a look. This is just a couple of laps ago. This is the exact same section where they're at. Watch how he gets his weight to the left side, the outside here. Bike goes back to the left, carves up the side of the hill.
Wow. Is that what they call cross-rutting there?
That's one a bit of a cross-rutting.
Yeah. 1 wheel in the rut, 1 wheel out. The bike starts going where it wants. Amazing that these guys are able to recover and not lose time when they make big mistakes like that. Look at Vilipoto. He's actually, again, in this section of the track, extending it back out.
And I got to think that part of that is that uphill triple jump there where it's really wet and soft and a lot of roost comes off the back of the bike. Vilipoto just nails that turn and then just blasts Dungey with roost. You see Les Smith right here, lap rider.
Hey, you bring up a good point, but Dungey, remember at the beginning of the moto, Jeff, pulled all the sheets, all the tear-offs off the lens of his goggles. So remember when he was battling Reed about a half hour ago, he had to wipe his goggles with his arm.
Yeah, so as he gets close to Vilipoto, especially in that section, that long uphill with the triple, it's really wet and muddy there. Section through here, where it's dry and dusty, a little bit of rocks, it's not really going to stick to your lens.
1 lap to go. If Dungey has clear vision, he can see 2 things. A, the white flag, and B, the number 2 of Vilipoto. Well, he'll also see the 27 of Nick Way, who's about to go a lap down. So Vilipoto's got to get around him quickly. He does. Can Dungey do the same? This has been Dungey's section, but this time he was not able to get back to the rear fender of Vilipoto. There's Dungey on the yellow. Rockstar Makita Suzuki. He was closer a lap ago.
Here's Michael Byrne, BTO Suzuki, who's actually running 14th, and he's about to go a lap down here. Moves to the left.
Vilipoto putting on a charge. That was, I don't know, was that brilliant or was that scary what he did in that corner, Jeff?
That's riding a fine line there. He just about laid it over, but you can see he's got a little breathing room. Dungey trying to inside line as they come up over that left-hander. And I tell you, that shot right there, going through that off camber, does not do it justice because, I mean, you can barely walk up that.
Vilipoto back downhill. Now going to go all the way to the outside.
He's working for it right now, Jason. He really is working the bike, and this takes so much physical conditioning, not just the cardiovascular, but physical strength to hold these 450cc four-stroke machines under them and ride with this type of intensity. Well, look at that. We're well over 30 minutes at this point.
Yeah, and they are sprinting past the 30-minute mark. Still got plenty of energy left. And they're going to need more because, remember, we run 2 motos every afternoon in AMA Pro Motocross. So after this race is done, they'll get about an hour break, and they'll do it again. And we combine the scores of both races. If Vilipoto wins this one and Dungey wins Moto 2, the tiebreaker goes to the better finish in the second race. So Dungey's got to be aware of that as well, because I don't think he's going to get Vilipoto. Only 1 corner left. Vilipoto had gone 8-0. He had won all 8 times he had raced here at Budds Creek. He's about to push it to 9. Ryan Villopoto wins Moto 1 at Budds Creek. A little more nerve-wracking than they wanted it to be in the Kawasaki pits, but they've got the W. That's what counts. 1.6 seconds, the final gap between Vilipoto and Dungey. Another win for RV2. We'll talk to him when we return.
Everything.
Time to get the celebration started at round 4 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We're at Budds Creek Motocross Park in Mechanicsville, Maryland. We've just completed our first 450 moto live on Fuel TV. And we'll show you exactly how that race broke down with our race recap. Here is the number 2, Ryan Villopoto, taking the lead from Mike Alessi. Jeff?
He goes after it. Vilipoto gets by Reed, then Alessi, and really takes off and checks out from the group.
We thought Vilipoto would go unchallenged, but Ryan Dungey began to surge. The number 1, here he is on the outside. He's going to make a move on Chad Reed on the red bike. Reed, your series points leader. Dungey wants none of that. He's going to go by him.
Dungey gets past Mike Alessi also right through here around the outside as Alessi slams the door.
Yeah, Alessi did everything he could to protect that line, but Vilipoto had a big lead at this point. We thought Vilipoto had it, but watch this.
Vilipoto stalls the engine very patiently, kicks the bike, gets it back going, but he had a 10-second lead that went away, and Dungey caught up.
But Dungey not able to make the pass. It was close, only 1.6 seconds at the finish. Vilipoto hangs on to take a dramatic win, and we'll give you the rest of the results right here with our top 10. How about Kevin Windham taking the 4th place spot away from Mike Alessi? That'll push Alessi to 5th. Metcalfe, Millsaps, Grant, Short, Weimer in the top 10. Nice comeback ride for Josh Grant, Jeff.
Pretty solid for being his first race back, and he's been off with an injury to the knee. Top 10 in his first round, that tells you that his preparation was on point here.
11 through 20, Ricky Dietrich, 11th. That was our one to watch in this moto. A lot of big names. They're not able to crack the top 10. That gives you an idea of just how tight the competition is. Just outside the top 20, these riders not going to score championship points in this one. Fredrik Noren is a Swedish rider. He's in the 21st, and there's the rest of the field, including Tommy Hahn, who is battling for 5th, but crashed out of that one and will be credited with 37th. So that's your top 40 of the first race of the day at Budds Creek. Vilipoto, Dungey, Reed are your top 3, and they're all standing down there. And we ready to send it down?
Ryan Villopoto, thank you guys. A lot of success for Ryan Villopoto in the 250 class, but this marks your first 450 outing. Ryan, you stalled your bike. Is there a moment that you thought that that might be passing you by?
Yeah, you know, just got out to a good start, broke a good lead. I was riding good, just got into the lappers a little bit, and just made a little mistake, and on that gnarly off camber just stalled my bike. But couldn't have done it without the whole Monster Energy Kawasaki. Done a lot for the great tires, getting me off to a good start. Parts Unlimited, Thor, Alvin Stars, Oakley Vans, Maxima Renthal, Falcon Tires, Volcom, Specialized, just everybody. Thank you guys.
First 2 rounds started a little slow, but the momentum is now in Ryan Villopoto's court.
All right, we'll be back to talk to Dungey and Reed and see how the race broke down for them. They've got to figure out a way to beat this guy. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Budds Creek. I'm here with Ryan Dungey, who took 2nd place. Ryan, you lost your tear-offs on lap 3. How much did that affect your vision, especially closing in on Ryan Villopoto with the lappers in the way?
Yeah, it's a shame. You never like to run out of tear-offs, but it's tough to prepare for something like that. It clogs the vision when it gets thicker, but Oakley does a great job of supplying that. But I lost a lot of time in the beginning. That really hurt me. I was able to. He made a mistake. Unfortunately, I was able to get right behind him, but couldn't make nothing happen. But get ready for Moto 2. Look forward to it.
Best of luck to you today.
Big talk, big sports, big tunes. The Daily Habit, the wildest late-night party on television, weeknights at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. And let's send it back down to the podium with Aaron Bates, who has our 3rd place finisher. Aaron?
Chad Reed managed to get that whole shot. You ran up front there for a bit, Chad, but it seemed as though you were losing a little bit of pace. Are you comfortable out there today?
I don't think I lost pace. I didn't have any pace, but great start, which, I worked hard on that this week, but yeah, I don't know. I just had no rhythm. I was trying to get around Alessi and just kind of got a little bit flustered there, and just the 2 Ryans were just riding really, really well. So we got work to do, go back to the drawing board, try and get another whole shot, and come out and find some pace.
Congratulations on a job well done. Best of luck in Moto 2.
Yes, there will be a Moto 2 later today, and then there's plenty more racing as we go to other events in other cities. And we'll cover it all on Fuel TV. That includes our highlight show from this race, the highlight show every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on Fuel TV. Then next week, we are going a mile high, Thunder Valley, just outside of Denver, Colorado. First Moto's live at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fuel TV. The highlight show, of course, Thursday night following that. And then the July 4th weekend extravaganza at Redbud in Buchanan, Michigan. And we'll have the live coverage of the First Moto at 1 p.m. Eastern. Now, we all unfortunately have to put our litigation hats on when we come to the Washington, D.C. area. Earlier, Aaron Bates talked to Tim Cotter about something very important to these riders.
I'm here with Tim Cotter from MX Sports. Tim, we're going to talk a little bit about the lead law, and we're so close to the Capitol. What can you tell us about the HR 412 Kids Just Want to Ride Act?
Well, HR 412 pertains to the CPSI, the Consumer Product Safety Commission. It was an act that was intended for for instruments or toys that were manufactured for children, they put them in their mouth and they get lead poisoning. But an unintended consequence is it includes motorcycles, because young mini bikes or small mini bikes are intended for young riders, and those are kids, and they have lead in them. It's impossible to build a motorcycle without lead. And so they fall into the category along with many other things like fishing equipment and books, and they're against the law right now, and it's a shame. And so HR 412 has a lot of support in Congress that repeals motorcycles from the CPSIA, and now we got to get over to the Senate side. And so our senators need to get on board, but the time is running out. It's December is the deadline for us till we got to start all over again. So it's really, really serious. I encourage everyone to contact their senators and congressmen.
That is just mind-boggling that this continues on, this lead law thing. It makes zero sense.
Yeah, it's completely ludicrous, and it's important to me. I have 2 children. My son's 3.5. My daughter's 7. You know, your daughter's 1 now.
Give her time.
And, you know, eventually, you know, we're going to buy these kids dirt bikes to ride as our family hobbies, and we need to fight that and get that act ran through to where everyone has the right to ride.
Yeah, that was, industry was blindsided by that one. So, yeah, contact your local congressman. We'll try to rectify that. As we come back, we're running through the history of American motocross. Has seen its fair share, including Ricky Carmichael's historic 100th career AMA Motocross win. We'll have the highlights of that when we return to the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing live on Fuel TV.
As the world's most competitive motocross series heads to the Maryland coast, a championship battle is taking shape. Can the contenders answer the call? Through the first 2 rounds of the 2011 title chase, Chad Reed was setting the pace on board his TwoTwo Motorsports Honda.
Chad Reed wins in Freestone.
As the series moved east last week in Pennsylvania, Kawasaki's Ryan Villopoto made a statement with his victory at historic High Point Raceway.
Ryan Villopoto wins his first moto of 2011.
Is this the time for Suzuki's Ryan Dungey or Yamaha's Davi Millsaps to claim the checkered flag? We're ready to drop the gate in the 450 class. The Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship starts right now from Budds Creek.
Just outside of our nation's capital on a Father's Day weekend, it's round 4 of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's the Budds Creek National from Mechanicsville, Maryland. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Budds Creek. Jason Weigand, of course, joined by 4-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig for Speed's coverage of the 450 class of AMA Pro Motocross. Let's give you the big picture storylines we'll be following today. First, Ryan Villopoto back on the board. Our Supercross champion struggling a little bit early in motocross, but he bounces back with a big win 1 week ago in Pennsylvania. So Villopoto is definitely going to be a contender now for the rest of the year. And speaking of back on the board, Josh Grant happened to be back racing at all. Knee surgery knocked him out of competition for nearly 6 months. He will make his 2011 motocross debut today. And how about Ryan Dungey, our defending series champ, yet to win a race so far this year, but he was the fastest rider in qualifying this afternoon at Budds Creek. So today could be the day that Dungey finally gets win numero uno. So for more analysis on all that, we turn it over to Jeff Emig, our 4-time champ, talk about Budds Creek and talk about the competition it's going to race today.
Well, yeah, the big story here is this track. Legendary facility. There's been some epic battles go down at this place. Heat and humidity are prevalent here. Track is getting really rough. It's going to be physical, and riders going to have to get after it. And I think that today, the 3 top riders on the top of the championship points, these guys are legendary riders, and I believe that we're going to see a great battle between those 3 riders here later on.
Give you the 4-1-1 and tell you exactly how we race motocross on speed. We run 2 motos in this 450 class, 40 riders in each, and each of those races lasts 30 minutes plus 2 laps. At the end of the day, we combine the scores from the 2 races to determine an overall winner. And we do have highlights from the first moto coming out in a bit, but first, we're going to show you exactly what...
there's more ruts on the track than even before. So right here, taking a look at the track map, it all looks pretty easy, but I'm telling you, get through these rollers, through the finish line, here's where you start to have some undulation in the track, up and down these hills, off camber, triple step down here, these Rockstar and Thor jumps here, and that's what's so great about this track is it's got a lot of natural terrain, but they built some big obstacles in it. Huge uphill triple right here. Down through the onboard section that we showed you, over the Lucas Oil Henry Hill. And that's a lap at Budds Creek.
And as we mentioned, we do have a moto complete already today, so we'll give you the highlights of our first race. Gate drops. Chad Reed gonna elbow a bunch of guys out of the way in the first turn, do what he needs to do, and put the 22 machine up front.
And of course, Chad Reed has won 4 of the 6 motos, so he's gonna check out on this thing, right?
Sure, it's gone, it's over. No, Mike Alessi gets around him, and then Ryan Villopoto gets around Alessi. Another of the classic Villopoto-Alessi battles. Villopoto in the lead. We figure now he's gonna check out.
He's got 10 seconds, don't worry about it. He's flying. Dungey's coming back here from 4th. He's trying to make the move around the outside on Chad Reed. That's gonna give him 3rd.
Nice line by Dungey there. So he's in the number 3 spot, but while he's doing this battling, Villopoto is getting away.
Yeah, I mean, Vilipoto was out. He was gone. And Alessi was trying to hang on to 2nd, and Dungey wisely goes around the outside. Alessi slams the door, said, I'll just keep my momentum up. But Dungey 10 seconds behind at this point.
Then Reed and Alessi going to battle for the final podium spot for top 3, and Reed is finally able to make the move. Series points leader. Consistent, but not where he wants to be. He wants to be up front. Tommy Hahn, watch this. He's chasing down Alessi and falls. Didn't look like that hard of a crash, but he took a handlebar to the side. That would knock him out of the moto. He thinks he might have cracked some ribs. We'll see.
One of the finest rides I have ever seen. And your leader was out front and rolling, and then he stalls the engine. 10-second lead dwindles away.
And Ryan Dungey is going to catch Ryan Villopoto after that mistake. They would battle all the way to the finish, but Villopoto would just hang on by about 1.5 seconds. You see Dungey on the yellow bike right behind him. But Ryan Villopoto gets another moto win. That's 2 moto wins on the year. He did win the overall last week at High Point after winning that first moto. So we'll see if he can make it hold up. Dungey, Reed, Windham, Alessi, all those guys are going to try to run him down here in Moto 2. Let's send it down to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Aaron Bates, who has our progressive pre-race report. Aaron?
We saw Christophe Pourcel get his feet wet at Hangtown and at Freestone, but then we haven't seen anything from him since. I caught up with David Villemin, the team manager of Moto Concepts, to find out exactly why he was terminated.
Yeah, our rider, Christophe Pourcel, has been terminated. It was a press release out this week from Moto Concepts, and basically, you know, he wasn't comfortable on the bike in Freestone at Run 2, and we wanted to test with him with Yamaha and Kayaba. For 2 weeks, we had a weekend off, so we had a lot of time to test. And everybody stepped up to the plate to test with him, and he never showed up for testing, and he actually did not show up for the race in Mount Morris. So that was maybe the only thing we could do is, you know, terminate the contract.
Yeah, it looks like a few questionable decisions out of the Frenchman, Christophe Pourcel. I think he's one of the best riders there is out there, but certainly his career is off track right now.
We'll see if he ever gets another opportunity to come back. Speaking of coming back, when we return, we'll have the second moto after a great first moto was put in the books by Ryan Villopoto. And in intermission, Spider-Man and Gravedigger showed up to entertain the fans with some monster truck action. The Monsters of Motocross coming up next. Just saw shots of our nation's Capitol building, Washington, D.C., only about a half-hour north of our racetrack here at Budds Creek. And there is a nice international vibe as well to this track, which has hosted a couple of World Grand Prix races, a Motocross of Nations. Let's give you the Rocky Mountain keys to the race in the 33 of Josh Grant, returning back to racing. Jeff.
Yeah, Grant right here in the middle. He's lined up just to the right side of Chad Reed. And he's got Mike Alessi on his left. So welcome back. Put in a great ride, great qualifying. Needs to get another good start to put himself into position. Stay healthy and keep the bike on 2 wheels. He has just had so much time off. It's really important for him to finish both motos here today and lay down the foundation for a successful future.
All right, we're about to turn that 30-second card sideways, and after that you'll hear the revs climb and then the gate will drop, and we'll go racing here in moto number 2 at Budds Creek. Mike Alessi leads them into turn 1. Will he lead them out? I think Ryan Dungey was able to knife through on the inside. They almost collide.
Wow.
Who wants it?
Alessi or Windham. I'm not sure who made it across the white stripe first, but I know that Alessi shifted gears faster than anyone and basically chopped Dungey and Windham.
So those
three
three
didn't go down.
Yeah, I thought Dungey had the whole shot for sure until Alessi was able to come through. So it's Alessi in the 800 in the lead, the 1 of Dungey, the 22 of Reed. Where did he come from? He's challenging Windham, and he gets third.
Vilipoto looks like he's going to come around the right of your screen. Green Kawasaki, Moto 1 winner. He is in 5th. Chad Reed needs to do something just like he did last week.
Like he did right now.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, explain Reed's situation here. First moto not so good, but he's back with a vengeance early in this one.
He just could not get things going, and he mentioned to us earlier that he just couldn't find his rhythm. And a champion like Chad, he has the ability to bounce back, and so rhythm and being able to ride those fast lines is what Moto 2 is going to be all about.
Dungey wants a piece of Reed. He's trying to come back, get the number 2 position away from him, with Windham 4th, Vilipoto 5th, and Mike Alessi getting away out front.
And notice there's some parts of the track where they put some water down, okay? That's to reduce the dust, but in those hard, dusty sections, that's where it's really slippery right now. You can see where the dirt is dark, it's wet. Where it's light, it's more than likely dry.
Back uphill, snaking our way past where the track hooks onto the starting line area. And Alessi already getting away, but this is the Alessi specialty, the good start, strong early laps.
Yeah, this is our onboard section, and you're coming up over Henry Hill. Watch how bumpy it gets coming up through here, and then you drop back down into some serious braking bumps on the other end. And this is the type of section where the chassis setup, your suspension settings, and of course your technique all play a part. But when a bike is not dialed in and the rider is not jiving with it, you seem to hit every bump. Chad Reed, that's kind of how the first moto was for him. He didn't find his rhythm. We'll see this moto if he bounces back and has a way to find the rhythm and work with the bumps rather than against them.
There's Vilipoto on the number 2. Green Kawasaki in 4th. He has gotten around Windham now at the end of lap 1. And in the first moto, he was in about this position early on. Then the second and third lap, he really found some extra speed and was able to work his way to the number 1 spot and take off. See the countdown clock at the top of the screen. 30 minutes and 2 laps we will do here. So we are only about 3 minutes into a longer than 30-minute race.
Let's see what sort of intensity Ryan Villopoto has here as he pushes through the second lap here. And the first moto, he started out on fire, and he wasted no time to get to the front. So you can see right now he's a few seconds behind. He's about 5 behind the leader. Reed and Dungey are in between him. He's followed by Windham, who had a pretty good first moto also.
Good battle here. Brett Metcalfe on the Suzuki, Jake Weimer on the Kawasaki. That is for 6th and 7th. These two have been pretty close in a lot of the motos this year, and they have hooked up once again, although I know that they want to be a little closer to the lead pack as well. Medi on the outside.
Metcalfe working the outside line, doing a good job of not following the rider in front of him. It's really hard to pass a bike when you're in the same line, okay? So he's making good use of the track, trying to find the new lines, and it's okay here early on, especially when you obviously have got the speed on the rider in front of you, and you know that you have them. When you can take some odd lines and you're moving all over the place and you're still on his rear tire, that's when you know that you got this guy.
Tightening up here, 2nd and 3rd, Reed on the 22 and Dungey on the 1. That was reversed early in this race, but Reed made a quick pass. Dungey has regrouped to come back after Reed, who is leading your championship point standings, but he had a 15-point lead coming into the first moto today. He now has a 10-point lead because Vilipoto got the drop on everyone in our first race earlier today. And Reed's got to try to get those points back. He's in position to do it with the good start. The best start of all, Mike Alessi. And we'll give you the idea of the gap here in just a moment as we begin the 3rd lap. It's less than a second, only 8/10 between Alessi. Oh, and Alessi almost threw the lead away.
Well, think about the number 22, Chad Reed. He's your points leader. He's also won all 3 second motos this year.
Great point.
End of the day, Reed has been the strongest.
He looks stronger at the end of the day than he did at the beginning. Chad Reed trying to run down Alessi. He continues to lead Chad Reed. A great battle for the number 1 spot of Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Racing from Southern Maryland. There's Alessi, kid out of the high desert of California, the veteran from Australia, all over him.
Well, look at that. Alessi makes a little mistake, and it allows Chad Reed to get to the inside line. He pulls the tear off. This is going to be a drag race. Who can get on the brakes the latest? Wow, did you see how much these bikes are jumping around?
Oh, and Reed, That was not supposed to be a spot where you can make a pass. He's going to try it on the outside anyway.
Let's see if Reed cuts back to the inside, tries to hold the tight line. Yes!
He does.
Not
But
gonna
Alessi's
pay
able to
off.
hold it. Reed is all over Alessi. They're going to go side by side again. This is another drop away.
And let's see if this rider's left. Now Reed's going to fall down to the inside. Still can't make the pass.
Wow, but where is Reed even finding these opportunities?
Well, and the problem is that by doing this cat and mouse game here with Alessi, that's going to slow them down a little bit. And then Reed's going to have to worry about Dungey.
Oh yeah, Dungey in third, sitting back watching. Watch this big step up here.
Just clipped the top and then over the next roller. Reed's been trying to hold this tight line, and now Alessi picks up on it, but is it enough?
Oh! Side by side again. They're going to scrub this finish line jump together. Reed on the inside, Alessi on the outside, and I think that's enough for Reed to grab the spot. Alessi ran it hard, but finally Reed has busted the door down. That took, what, 2-3 laps of pressure. And finally the 2-2 is into the #1 spot. How will Ryan Dungey respond to this? Will he go after Alessi?
Well, and this is the type of riding out of Chad Reed, or should we call him Sir Chad Reed at this point,
nice,
that we have not seen in the first motos the last 2 weeks. But the second motos, the Australian has been on fire, and he's shown some serious determination. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going.
Well, Dungey got the memo. He saw Reed go to the #1 spot, so he knows he has to follow Reed through. He's putting a charge on Alessi, and again, you do not see a threat at the moment from Vilipoto, who is in fourth. So this is the golden opportunity for all three of these riders to get away from Vilipoto, who has won every single race he has ever competed in at this racetrack.
Yeah, Vilipoto just a couple seconds behind, and as Dungey tries to work into the #2 position, should be noted that even though we got 20 minutes to go, that if Dungey was to finish the 2-2 and Reed the 3-1, Reed would still win the overall. So the math is going to get pretty tight here.
There's Dungey showing a wheel to Alessi on the inside. Here we go. One of the fastest sections of this track.
Dungey flies down Henry Hill, and look at the wide line. Let's see if he can carry more momentum around the outside and do something with it.
Oh, no, Alessi controlling the good spots on the racetrack. Dungey trying everything he can come up with.
Yeah, the long line didn't work, and it also allowed Ryan Villopoto to catch up about a second. Now you're starting to see him creep into the screen.
Yeah, that's not what these guys want to see. Vilipoto, who is lethal on this track. Here is Dungey putting the challenge to Alessi in the same spot Reed did. Nice job walking the tightrope on the inside, and Dungey's going to get the spot. That could not have been easy, Jeff, for him to hold that inside over those jumps at that speed.
It takes some serious physical strength and some technique to maneuver the bike, and that's the type of track where you're really using your lower body to bend the bike around those rollers and those doubles.
Give us the progressive whole shot replay here, Jeff, and explain how Alessi got the whole shot after Dungey was leading down the stretch.
It's Windham on the inside. See, he taps the back of Alessi. Both riders hammering the throttle, and it's Alessi that just edges him out. And then watch Alessi get up on the side of the hill. Oh, and they go out of sight. Alessi shifted gears on that 450 KTM and really laid the power down.
Uh-oh, here comes Vilipoto. And these two riders, no strangers to each other. We've talked a lot about them racing as kids in the amateur ranks as Vilipoto triples around the outside. But they also had a, sorry, they just want to mention, they had a battle back here in 2006 when they first met up as professionals. And a couple of turns from here, Vilipoto straight parked Alessi, took him down, and he said that was revenge for all their battles as amateurs. So there's a lot of history between these two at this track. There's Vilipoto on the outside.
The fans know all this too. They're cheering these guys on. We have got a fantastic crowd here. You see them all lined up under the trees trying to get a little bit of shade. Good 90 degrees out here, and humidity is really high. And here in the second moto, this is when the physical conditioning, this is when it counts. This is when you're doing all your training and everything during the week, and you're suffering through all of that. This is when it pays off.
Vilipoto, he knows it's time to go. We're nearing the halfway point of this moto. You see the countdown clock at the top. And while he tussles with Alessi for third, Reed and Dungey are leaders. Oh, a mistake! Reed and Dungey are getting away, and now even further away from Vilipoto as he clipped that hay bale.
It's going to give Alessi a little bit of breathing room, maybe a chance to get his heart rate back down, to focus on the lines that he wants to ride, not the defensive lines that he might be forced to ride, and get back in his groove. And Mike has the ability to do that.
But Vilipoto has the ability to close the gap back in. So it'll be interesting as the 800 and the 2 square off for the number 3 spot, while Dungey tries to attack Reed for the number 1 position. What a great setup for a battle to the wire here in Maryland.
When it's time.
Caught back up to Mike Alessi. So here's your race for 3rd. Alessi on the left, Vilipoto on the right. The big step up. Vilipoto clears the whole thing. Is that going to be enough to allow him to make the pass? No.
Wow, look at Alessi. He just stayed in his line, but Vilipoto relentless.
Wow.
Over the finish line jump.
I didn't think he'd be able to make this happen. He started on the outside, switched to the inside, and Vilipoto's got the spot.
He's just got too much strength at this point of the moto for Mike Alessi. It's a great ride by Mike Alessi. I cannot underestimate how impressed I am with him coming back from the injury in the first round, and to be riding basically a 3-4 last week. He was docked 1 position, so he goes 4-4 at high point. Now he's coming back another top 4 ride here with about half the race left to go on one of the toughest tracks of the year.
Reed and Dungey duking it out for the number 1 spot. It's as close as they have been since the opening lap of this race when Reed made a pass on Dungey. Now Reed got to hope that Dungey doesn't repay him and get him back here in the second half of the race.
Well, these guys are laying down an incredible pace. 205s for both of our leaders.
Wow.
Alessi and, well, Alessi was a 209s, obviously why he was headed backwards. With Vilipoto, a 207 last time around. So Vilipoto's about 8 seconds behind this group here. And these guys need to keep working at it because Vilipoto may just close that gap up if they play the cat and mouse game.
Aaron Bates, what's happening trackside?
Quite a battle that's taking place right now between Reed and Dungey. Both of those boys made minor changes during the afternoon for the second moto. Ryan Dungey just took minor tweaks here and there. Nothing overly crazy. This is just to adapt to the way the track is changing. But Chad Reed, on the other hand, fresh tires from him, just looking for any additional traction.
Wow, so Reed not changing much. Struggling in Moto 1, strong in Moto 2. So, like you said, Jeff, earlier, it's all on him. The bike's fine.
It's on him. Just get some fresh rubber on the bike with those nice sharp edges, because you're going to need it. These sections right here, when you're leaning the bike over and you're on the throttle, and even through there, that last double down has got a wet spot there. And, man, when you get the right tire set up, it seems like you can do whatever you want with the bike. You can put it in any line. You can go up this off-camber hill right here and just lean the bike into the turn as the track's going away from you and just ride on those side knobs. Oh, it was so good. I'm telling you, factory bike. Factory tires.
By the end of this race, Jeff Evans coming out of retirement. Just watching this battle on this racetrack has got you fired up. But why wouldn't it? Look how good this is as Dungey is ready to try to make a pass.
Hey, if I could scream and take my shirt off and wave it right now, I'd be one of those fans out there. I love this stuff. I love seeing what these riders are doing. We spoke about it at the opening of the show. I really felt that these riders were going to separate themselves from the rest of the pack, and so far I was right.
Well, we thought it'd be the 3 doing it, but the 2 are separating themselves. Reed just ran a 206, Dungey a 205.8, and Vilipoto a 208.7. So they're about 2 seconds quicker than Vilipoto right now.
And that's what's impressive about what our leaders are doing is not only, you have a tendency when you're in the lead, when somebody catches you, to start riding, I'm defensive. Reed said, no, I'm not going to ride defensive here. I'm going to step it up. And I'm going to raise the level once again because I've won every second moto this year, and I'm not giving this up here at Butts Creek either.
We have seen some great races between these 2 riders already in the Young 2011 series. Had it in the second moto at our opener in Hangtown. Had it in the second moto of round 2 at Freestone. Another great one here. It's so hard to pick a favorite between Dungey and Reed. They have been so equally matched so far.
Yeah, Dungey tried a new line there. It didn't work. He's just outside of the roost off of Chad's bike, so no big mistake. Just has to remember that next time around after Henry Hill, he's going to have to funnel down to the inside. The outside is not going to work there.
Whoa! Dungey doing everything he can to keep the bike on the inside of that left-hand turn. Just held onto the motorcycle. This Friday, Orange County, Californians are home to the greatest collector car event in the world, Barrett-Jackson, and you can see it on Speed. The finest, rarest, most desirable cars on the planet are all in one place, and it's all up for grabs. Watch the auction live on Speed, Friday at 5 Eastern on Speed. U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, and meanwhile, we've got some history being made, not just as racers on the track, but a wedding. On the left is Jonathan Beasley, the owner of Budds Creek Raceway, getting married during halftime with Roger DeCoster, the man, as the best man. And the man in this moto is Chad Reed, looking to make a little history of his own. Wants to win this thing. While we are away at break, Ryan Dungey was all over Reed, and Reed has weathered the storm and pulled back ahead.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note that in 2009, when Chad was with Team Suzuki, Roger DeCoster was guiding him through his first and only, to this point, AMA Motocross Championship. So lots of history made as Chad wrapped up that title here at this facility.
That's right.
In what was it a race or a personal watercraft race, a jet ski race, or something?
Yes.
It was really wet that day.
Yeah, the whole track was a Budds Creek, basically.
Yeah.
Now we're going to explain how the overall works. Look at the top of the screen. This would be your overall. Reed, if he wins the moto, a third and a first would give him 45 points. He would tie Vilipoto on points, but Reed would win the tiebreaker by virtue of the better second moto, and Dungey would finish third. He'd be 1 point back. So Dungey essentially has to catch Reed. If he beats him in this moto, he beats him for the entire afternoon.
Well,
and Dungey's not done.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of our point system. 25 for first, 22-20, and you get that one extra point for winning the moto. That's the incentive for going out, and the overalls don't count towards championship points. We score the championship for each individual moto.
You just saw the leaders go by. We'll give you an idea of the gap now between those two and Vilipoto, and they have just left Vilipoto in this one. This will actually, should be, the first ever defeat for Vilipoto at this track. He had won 9 out of 9 motos in his career at Budds Creek. Way back now in third. But behind him, Kevin Windham in fourth. Great ride for the 33-year-old. Who is probably going to take the rest of the summer off. He was only here as a replacement ride for Josh Grant, who is now back from injury. So Kevin did the job, rode the bike while Grant was out, and he'll probably call it a summer. But what a way to end this little guest performance.
Wow, look at that. Double down. That's a blind little double into that turn. Kevin, last lap around was at 2:10. Vilipoto was just about a half a second or so faster. But let's see if Windham can keep the charge going, keep the momentum on, and pick off Vilipoto here. That would ruin Vilipoto's day at this point if he dropped one more position.
Yeah, because at least right now, Vilipoto and Reed would end the day tied in points. If Windham gets Vilipoto, Vilipoto would drop from second overall to third behind Dungey, and he would lose a couple of points on the day to Reed. Doesn't want that to happen. So we've been wondering who could maybe spoil the party with our top three, and maybe it's Kevin Windham. What are you hearing about Kevin, Aaron?
Well, if he's going to spoil, he's definitely got a little bit of time to do so, but I was speaking with Brian Palma, his mechanic, and the only thing that he had changed up, a special request, a Kevin Windham request, a brand new shock for the second moto. He just really likes the feel, and he wants to be comfortable at his final race this summer.
Well, that's interesting. It seems like Aaron is referring to a new shock with a new setup, fresh oil and all that, but the same spec. And now a shock actually takes a little bit of time to break in, and a fresh one seems to be just what the doctor ordered at this point for Team Honda and Kevin Windham.
And we expect the other American Honda racing rider, Trey Canard, to be back. They're saying maybe at Millville, Minnesota in about a month's time. Honda, as team, has been decimated by injuries this year. That's why they brought Windham in. Windham was only supposed to race the indoor Supercross tour. Now that Josh Grant is back, Windham can take the rest of the summer off. But every time Windham has a good ride like this, he probably starts thinking twice and thinking maybe I should race a few more. In fact, look at this. He has closed back up to Vilipoto. This is a bad lap for Vilipoto. He had a little gap built up, but it's gone.
Yeah, look at Kevin right now. This is when he is at his best. He is effortless out there, flowing around the track. He has that rhythm that we spoke of earlier, and Vilipoto seems to have no rhythm at this point. I don't know if it's physical, if it's mental, but right now, Vilipoto is definitely come under fire from the veteran Kevin Windham, seeing he's 13th all-time on the overall win list. pretty incredible career that he's had. And that's the thing about Kevin Windham, and that's why Honda, whether he's on Geico Honda team or rides a factory team, you can always count on him being there. He's been one of the most consistent riders. Doesn't seem to get hurt a lot, and always right there.
Well, the fans want him to be always right there on the podium. And if he could have his last race of the summer and end it in 3rd place, they will go crazy here at Budds Creek, because Windham is quite possibly the most popular rider on the tour. He's been around so long, so much respect for what he's done. And how about this? With just over 2 laps to go, he is trying to get Vilipoto for the number 3 spot. While Dungey tries to get Reed and Windham tries to get Vilipoto. Man, it's great racing to watch here.
Tell me about Castrol GTX with Dry Shield.
Helps stop particles from building up as deposits.
How?
Well, first it attracts particles.
Like a mermaid song to a lonely sailor?
Right, then it captures them.
Like a Venus flytrap.
Like a black hole.
Like a black hole in a Venus flytrap.
Then it disperses them like a T-shirt cannon.
Like a snowblower.
Like polyisobutamides. Okay, like a snowblower.
Sounds powerful.
Stop small particles
from becoming big problems.
Do you always?
Yes.
Right.
Help stop deposits before they start with Castrol GTX. It's more than just oil.
Saturday, the Rolex Sports Car Series is revving up for a fight on a new battlefield. For the first time in a decade, Grand Am returns to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And this legendary track promises road racing at its best. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series, Saturday live, 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on Speed.
I'm telling you, Weege, the number 2 of Ryan Villopoto, our first moto winner, he's out there, and he just does not have that flow and the rhythm that he had in Moto 1. He stretched it out a little bit on Windham, and now we go back to the lead.
And Ryan Dungey is still close enough to make something happen down the stretch with a lap and a half to go. Reed leads it. Dungey is right there. We've seen this happen between these two several times this year. So maybe watch the lines here. What do you think? Does Dungey have some spots picked out to try to make a pass on the final lap?
Yeah, Dungey's on it now. Reed didn't draw such good lines going up that last hill. You see his mechanic there, Lars, pointing to the back, telling him that, hey, the competition is there.
And Dungey is still right there. Who's going to win this one on Father's Day weekend? It would be a special one for whoever does it. Only 2nd Father's Day ever for Chad Reed. He would be happy. We talked to a bunch of these riders about what their dads mean to them, especially important in motocross because it's a family sport and dad's got to help you get to the races. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I always just look at it, Father's Day as being something that you looked up to your dad, and it's definitely pretty special to have my own little son.
Now being a father, racing, you're away from your family, which makes it tough for Father's Day, but it's definitely special, and it makes you proud, too, to see your kids and see how special they are to you.
Father's Day is, it's changed just from the fact that to feel the appreciation from them. I mean, you feel it on a daily basis, but to have a day where they come and they really say thank you and stuff is really cool. And to be a father is not really about getting a reward, but to have them just come on that day and make the special little cards and give you the hug and really show you, go above and beyond showing the love. It makes you feel good, and like I said, just kind of the reward comes from every day, to be honest with you, raising them and watching them do all the cool things that they're doing. My oldest is now 8, and she's into some really cool stuff herself, so the rewards are daily, but to have that one special day where they can jump on you and give you a hug and show you that card they made while you're off at a race is pretty cool.
It's changed quite a bit, being a dad now, got a lot of different things to do and changing diapers, and it's a completely different world, but I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a cool experience.
Want to talk about a cool experience? How about trying to wrestle the lead away from Chad Reed in the last lap of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross event? That's what Ryan Dungey's trying to do. You see Reed, the 22, and Dungey, the number 1. It is still close with a half a lap to go.
Both riders having to pick their way through the lapped riders, but through the mechanics area, you see everyone from Team Honda waving the towels and cheering on 22 of Chad Reed. He's on his way to winning the overall.
I think he's going to do it.
Moto 2.
Man, a terrible performance in Moto 1. He bounces back strong. He beats Vilipoto, Dungey, Alessi, and the rest. Chad Reed, 1 lap to go. Can he do this? Can he get it? And with Dungey being this close and this much lap traffic, I mean, what is even running through their mind right now? I mean, you got to deal with lappers, with pressure, with lines, fatigue.
This is when the intensity is so high because you know what's on the line, and your body's hurting, your hands are hurting, your heart rate and your lungs are just completely maxed out, and you're just letting it all on the line, and you're a little loose right now. Okay, you're not like your, body is a little bit weaker than at the start of the moto. But this is what you train for, is to be able to ride the full 30 minutes plus 2 laps.
Aaron, what do you have on the 22?
A very cute Chad Reed celebrating his second Father's Day with baby Tate. He has got 2 hands with a heart in the middle. I love Dad on the back of his butt patch that he's sporting here around Budds Creek for Father's Day.
That's incredible artwork for a 1-year-old.
Yeah, impressive. Well, you know the guys at his gear company that really helped out. Okay, will Tate get to see his dad, Chad, take the win? Again, I think the lap traffic hurt Dungey more than Reed, because look at Reed has stretched it out a bit again.
But he really has no time to waste unless there was an issue with Dungey. Chad takes a look back, and that is a great opportunity in that 180-degree turn to see just where the competition is. Takes another look back here. You can tell he's got a little cushion. He's got to feel good about that. But there's still some really technical sections here coming up that Chad's going to have to maneuver through if he's going to take this moto win. See right there, you cannot let up. You've got to take it all the way to the checkered flag.
Well, this is shades of our second moto of the opener at Hangtown, when Dungey, with 2 laps to go, put in the charge, got to the rear wheel of Reed, but didn't have enough left after that charge to challenge him to the checkered flag.
And that's kind of been the story of Dungey all year. He's just been a click off from being able to win the motos and win the overall. He's been really close.
Chad Reed looks over his shoulder. He doesn't see any competition, so he looks forward, and all he sees is the checkered flag. Reed is going to win the overall here at Budds Creek.
What an incredible second effort from Chad Reed.
Hey, nice job back for Josh Grant. Give me the keys to the race. And what do you think? Good performance by him. He's in the top 10.
Top 10. He's doing exactly what he needed to do here. And the most important thing was ride every lap.
He did. He got all laps in. He stayed healthy. Rocky Mountain ATV MC keys to the race, so he followed them, right?
Yep.
All right, so that's good for Josh Grant.
And happy Father's Day.
First Father's Day for him. That's correct. So Grant will take the mantle from Kevin Windham for the Honda team over the next couple of weeks. But another Honda has got the win, and that's Chad Reed. He holds off Ryan Dungey. The final margin of victory, 4 seconds, and Reed gained 3 seconds on Dungey on the last lap alone. So once again, Reed is the strong man down the stretch, and he's got himself his 3rd victory of the year.
From ground.
This July, baseball's biggest stars will gather together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox. Time for the Lucas Oil race recap from 450 Moto 2 here in Maryland.
And boy, what a race it was. You see Dungey on the inside. Windham is there, and watch as they round turn 1. It's Mike Alessi on the KTM who shifts the gears and ends up with the whole shot.
But Chad Reed would make a move on Ryan Dungey and then make a move on Alessi and would take the early lead.
Question is where is Moto 1 winner Ryan Villopoto as Reed
takes the win, yeah, and we never saw Vilipoto challenge like he did in Moto 1. We were really surprised that Vilipoto wasn't able to get up there. Reed held off Dungey down the stretch. He's your winner. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates.
It was definitely a bounce back from Moto number 1, but Chad, you came out swinging out there. What is it about this track that you seem to excel at so much? You won here back in 2009 as well.
I mean, I love this track, and you know, like I said to you in the first one, I just had no pace. I just had no rhythm. And I needed to go back to the truck and have a good think about myself, and came back out, got another great start, and actually passed people, and that's a good thing. So, man, huge thanks to all the guys at Bellray, TwoTwo Motorsports, American Honda, Mitch at PC, all the guys at Etney, Skull Candy, FX, and just proud, man, proud that we haven't lost a second moto this year. And it's not my fitness, man. I gotta hit my marks every moto, otherwise these two are gonna take advantage of it.
What do you think that you're doing differently right now from your competitors to keep you on your A game?
I would just say, you know, like putting myself in good positions in the second motos. those two have got speed, and when they get out front, they're lethal. And just try to put a stop to that. I tried to just maintain a good pace that I felt like I could do, and slow the pace down a little bit so I could find some lines, and then eventually the pace got up a little bit. So pump for an overall today.
Maybe it was that I love Chad, I love Dad butt patch that paid off. Congratulations on a great day. Happy Father's Day.
Here are the results from the second moto here at Budds Creek. Dungey second. Vilipoto did hold off Windham to take third. And Alessi held on for fifth, so not sure if the bike had problems or what, but he was able to recover and hold on for a top 5. Metcalfe, Weimer, Short, Millsaps, and Grant right now the top 10. Not what Millsaps was looking for today after a podium earlier in the year.
Yeah, but it was really surprising. Vilipoto at the end was 45 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah. Hey, this is only the 4th round of the year. We've got lots more racing coming up. We'll show you the Toyota moving forward schedule. We're going to Lakewood, Colorado, outside of Denver next weekend. Speed will have coverage at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. That's their 450 class. Then NBC will have coverage of our next race from Redbud at Buchanan, Michigan. Then it's Millville, Minnesota, and Washougal, Washington with 450 coverage on Speed July 16th and July 23rd as we roll through the summer. Meanwhile, the Reed family's happy. They got Tate here. There's Ellie Reed, mom on the left, and they've got themselves a great trophy to bring home and celebrate Father's Day tomorrow. Half tons ever. Welcome back. Fans were treated to a spectacular race in our second 450 moto. Aaron Bates has our runner-up, Ryan Dungey.
What a ride for Ryan Dungey. And Ryan, you just said you feel a little disappointed. You thought you had the speed today to get this job done. What was it that held you back?
You know, it's nothing, you know. I mean, we work hard. The bike ran pretty good today. First moto, we fought it a little bit. Second moto was a little bit better, and I felt really comfortable out there. Just was behind Chad. Chad was putting down good laps, you know, and when a guy puts down good laps and you're right there with him, it's hard to make a pass, and that was tough, you know, some lappers. But, you know, nothing taken from him. Just got to say Happy Father's Day to my father tomorrow. Tomorrow's Father's Day, and to all them fathers out there. And sure you're proud, and thanks for everything to everybody. It's been a long season, but we got a lot left, and just got to keep our head down, man.
Ryan, tell us about the lappers and how much did that impact your ride today?
You know, it's a shame. You know, sometimes lappers get in the way, and whether they know it or not, you know, I don't know. But it's racing. It's part of the game. It's part of the sport, and it's grueling. It's tough. It's a man's sport, but we'll try to be more man and come back ready in Lakewood next weekend.
Great job. Congratulations.
Here are your overall results, and you can see how close Dungey was. He's 1 point behind Reed and Vilipoto for the day, so he'll lose 1 point in the overall championship standings for the season. Windham 4th overall, Alessi 5th. The rest of these guys just outside of that top 5. You know they want a little more than that. Talking about Metcalfe, Millsaps, Weimer, Short, and Grant. Let's send it back down to Aaron with Ryan Villopoto.
Ryan Villopoto, he won that first moto, but Ryan, it looked as though you had lost a little bit of your rhythm during that second moto. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, you know, just what really wasn't there, and then I got a bad stomach ache, but you know, the guys were riding good today, just in that second moto. Just need to pick some better lines, and you know, just couldn't do without the whole Monster Energy Kawasaki, Dunlop, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Alpenstars, Oakley, Vans, Maxima, Renthal, Falcon Tires, Volcom, Specialized, just everybody. Thank you.
That's it, the first ever loss of a moto for Ryan Villopoto, and he started racing here in 2006. We'll show you the series point standings now, and Vilipoto made up some ground on Reed and lost some ground.
Yeah, but it's more so about how your performance was that day, and you can tell he's pretty disappointed. I'm sure the win streak is not really on his mind. He just realized that that was a really bad moto, and he needs to pick it up.
Hey, Aaron Bates has got one more rider to talk to before he says goodbye to us. Aaron, who do you have?
That's right. It looks like this is going to be the moment of a farewell. Kevin, you put in a great effort out there today. What does it mean to you to go out on such a positive note?
It feels great, you know. I'm hurting right now, bad, but you never forget the cheers of these fans. After I recover from this, I'll still remember that. And I'd like to thank Honda and Geico, MSR, DVS, all the guys for helping me get out here showy. And you know, it's just incredible to come out here. It gets harder and harder every year, but it seems like the crowd gets louder and louder. And I better quit talking right now because I feel like I'm about to pass out.
Give you a little bit of air. These fans definitely go crazy for you every time you go around, but how much motivation does that give you to finish off your race?
It means everything to me, you know. I wish I could get the results, but when you don't, that's all you got, and it feels good.
You'll be missed. Have a great summer.
Fuel your passion for motorcycle racing with Speed Motorcycle Text Alerts, powered by Yamaha. Get the latest moto racing results and breaking news as soon as they become available, sent right to your phone. Just text Moto to Speed 3 for the alerts now.
Well, Kevin's got 4 children at home to go home to and spend the summertime while we're out here hammering out Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. And temperature's starting to rise. Riders are stepping up, and we're starting to see who is fit.
Man, it's going to be a great, great championship chase. Congratulations to Chad Reed for taking the win today. Ryan Dungey, Ryan Villopoto, they'll be back to fight him at our next round next week in Colorado. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Big thanks to you for watching our show today. And the TwoTwo Motorsports train rolls on. 3 wins in 4 rounds this year. We'll see if we can get another one next week.